Hello ladies and gentlemen, welcome to League of Legends at a Glance, the show where I spend way too much time and energy talking about a video game. Today we'll be talking about Mordekaiser, but first, a bit of backstory. As you may know, League is a balancing nightmare. With over 140 champions in Riot's roster, it's pretty much impossible to ensure that every champion has a place in a given meta. Riot's constant attempts to please its player base while also keeping the pro scene stable results in the ebbing and flowing that we call buffs and nerfs. Up until recently, Aatrox wasn't even considered a champion, but with his rework, people are actually playing him, and they're not feeding all the time. These changes add flavors to the game and keep him from going stale, but there are certain champions that don't even know what a patch note is. These champions aren't really played not necessarily because they're bad, but rather one aspect about their kit is so good, they can never be allowed out of the broom closet Riot keeps them in unless they should dominate the Rift. Consider the following. You're playing an RPG and you only have 100 points to spend on stats like Strength, Intelligence, and Charisma. You could evenly spread out your points across the board to come up with a well-rounded character, or you could be ignoramus and put your points into Strength. Sure, you can swing that great axe with one hand, but you won't be able to multiply by 10 and you'll smell bad. We like to call these characters gimped. These are champions that have their entire power budget crammed into one or two spells, that the rest of their kit is garbage by comparison. Yes, they can do one amazing thing, but in most situations, they're completely useless.
Aatrox is here! Sejuani is behind us! What the fuck, Riot?
What is going on? I'm up against Olar. Okay, good job. What the heck is going on?
Dead! But you can kill Aatrox! No, why don't you have the minigun? Actually, yeah, that was a pretty good reason to use rockets.
Are you guys still going for
My
that?
luck is still going. I can't. What the fuck? She's gonna kill Rise!
Okay.
She is going to kill Rise. Did he rise? The fucking Pantheon is a baritone form.
It's still happening, Suna.
I got the Rise.
I got first blood. But
I
then
got the Rise. Why?
This brings us to the topic of Mordekaiser. He certainly isn't the most gimp champion, that spot belongs to Trinamir, but our poor metal man needs some lovin'. Nobody even knows what Mordekaiser is at this point. He's a mage that carries a mace and looks like a tank and makes a bunch of heavy metal puns and goofy jokes, but he's also the oldest evil Runeterr's ever faced. The poor guy's a mess of character design. Fun fact, back in 2015, Riot tried reworking Mordekaiser during the infamous Juggernaut update. But instead of fixing his mountain of problems, they decided to give him more problems by making him a melee hypercarry. In order to actually make this botched idea work, they added a bunch of crud that didn't actually work well with his kit, and unsurprisingly, didn't make him a viable bot lane carry. Now, without a place to stay in bot lane, Mordekaiser is forced to roam the Rift in search of a place to call home. And boy, is it not going well. Which is a shame, because in the right hands, he's actually pretty strong. Gimp champions don't get the spotlight often, but when they do, they shine brighter than Tarek's abs.
I like the cut of your gem.
Mord has one of those kits that makes him a real issue to deal with if you're not prepared. What's Mordekaiser's kit, you ask?
I'm gonna come top. I guess it's gonna be a lane game with this guy's. Never mind, you're just gonna murder him like I murdered my wives.
You took the cannon, you idiot!
I ganked. I did gank. I have enough for.
He was just taxing your lane.
I have enough for warrior now.
Mordekaiser's passive is Iron Man. 25% of the damage Mordekaiser deals with his abilities is converted into a shield that caps at 25% of his maximum HP. This passive is only half effective on minions and will decay if he's not constantly hitting stuff. This is one of the reasons Mordekaiser is so hard to balance. He has a constant in-combat shield that he can use to mitigate damage while fighting. This alone makes it absurdly difficult to kill. If you want to engage on Mordekaiser, you best have planned to kill him quick, because the more damage he does to you, the less damage you'll be doing to him. Mordekaiser can also stack to spawn minions to stay healthy against harassment and poke. This passive on its own is really good, but when you take a look at the rest of his kit, you'll begin to see that not even this is enough to save him. Keep in mind that Mordekaiser is a health caster, so in order to generate his shield, he's gotta hurt himself, which sucks due to his limits to sustain options. Mordekaiser's passive might protect you from the enemy team, but nothing can save you from yourself. Damn it! Mordekaiser's Q is Mace of Spades. Mordekaiser's next 3 auto attacks do bonus magic damage, the third of which doing damage equal to the first 2 combined. This spell also resets Mordekaiser's basic attack timer. The damage on this spell is sick, especially on the third auto attack, but the biggest issue with Mace of Spades isn't the spell itself, it's Mordekaiser's movement speed. Mordekaiser is notorious for being incredibly immobile, as he has no mobility spells or crowd control. The only time you'll be using all 3 hits is if someone chooses to fight you at melee range. Mordekaiser shares a spot with having the slowest base movement speed in the game with a handful of mages, supports, and ADCs, most of which are ranged. With only 325 movement speed, the only champions who are slower than Mordekaiser are Kled when he's lost Skrull, and Janna. Kled gains a butt ton of movement speed when he's moving towards enemies while mounted, and Janna's passive gives her 8% movement speed, so at level 1, she's already moving faster than Mordekaiser. This means if you ever get close enough to auto-attack someone, all they have to do is walk away. With nothing in Mordekaiser's kit to actually help him land 3 auto-attacks, Mace of Spades is basically just a tool to help him CS better. And while we're talking about Mordekaiser's base armors, can we address the fact that Mordekaiser is only 25 base armor at level 1? This means that he has less base armor than Janna and freaking Malphite. So not only is Janna ranged and moving faster than Mordekaiser, but she's also tankier than he is too. And I know Malphite's a tank in his armor scalings, but come on! He's a rock! What's gonna have more protections? A living suit of armor or a freaking rock? Come on, Riot, add some realism to your game. Mordekaiser's W is Harvester of Sorrows. Passively, Mordekaiser gains bonus experience when killing a minion near allies, equal to 50% of the experience he would have lost due to them being there. Mordekaiser can activate this ability to drop a spooky circle on himself in an ally unit, either just be a champion or a minion. Both Mordekaiser and his ally gain movement speed when moving towards one another, increasing in speed the further apart they are. If he and his butt buddy are standing right next to each other, the spooky circle starts to do AoE damage around the 2 of them. Mordekaiser can then reactivate this ability after 4 seconds to deal damage around himself and heal for each enemy hit, which is reduced to 25% against minions. Okay, let's tackle this mess of an ability by first addressing the elephant in the room. 90% of this ability's effectiveness relies on there being an ally nearby. This is due to Riot's short-sighted attempt to turn Mordekaiser into a bot lane carry back in 2015. This was 3 years before the Clown Fiesta patch we all know as patch 8.11 that made this notorious idea somewhat viable.
Oh, the search file?
Okay, 3 people are
Coming. I'm almost there.
Help! Is this Mordekaiser gets a triple kill? Oh.
Suna, you stood in his thing.
I didn't stand in this thing.
Yeah, you did.
What did I stand in?
The thing.
You waited. You let him hit you.
I tried.
Like you got really close. You didn't have to do that.
No, I got really close because I wanted to heal with my W. I'm a melee character.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to get really close. Mordekaiser had to spend 3 years of his life in the dumpster just to be playable as a bot lane carry for 2 weeks, and the way they achieved that was making almost every actual AD carry in the game non-existent. You can activate this ability without an ally nearby, but you'll be missing out on everything but the heal. In the past, you weren't even allowed to cast this ability if an ally wasn't nearby, and it couldn't even be cast on minions. Thank God Riot reverted this change because playing Mordekaiser at the top lane was pretty much impossible at that point. Keep in mind that Mordekaiser is a health caster and the radius of his spooky circle is around him. This means in order to sustain your health cost, you have to position yourself directly next to the enemy to get the maximum healing out of it, which sucks when you're being bullied around in lane. I don't even want to talk about the passive. The bonus experience from killing minions is nice, but unless your jungler decides to set up camp smack dab in the middle of your lane, you're not going to be getting much use out of this. This ability is such a mess of design, and yet it's his most important spell. The heal is massive if you can land it on a full wave of minions plus your enemy laner, and the AoE is fantastic wave clear. This is the ability you want to be maxing first, as the Q is situational and the E is... well, let's talk about that. Mordekaiser's E is Siphon of Destruction. Mordekaiser casts a cone in a targeted direction and deals AoE magic damage. He also gains a bonus percentage of Iron Man's shield. Not very much to say about this ability. It is what it is. Use it to poke down your enemy laner. Combo with your W to maximize wave clear. That's pretty much it. What else do you want me to say about this ability? Come on. Mordekaiser's ultimate is Children of the Grave. As a hidden passive, Mordekaiser subconsciously makes the player hum Children of the Grave by Black Sabbath whenever he ults. Mordekaiser can activate this ability to curse an enemy champion. Cursed champions take an initial magic damage based on a percentage of their maximum HP, healing Mordekaiser for 100% of the damage dealt. The cursed target also takes max HP damage as a dot over the course of 10 seconds. But wait, there's more! If the target were to die from any cause within that 10 seconds, Mordekaiser will enslave their soul with controllable ghost, causing both Mordekaiser and his ghost to gain a butt-ton of mixed stats. One more thing! Mordekaiser can enslave the dragon just by damaging it. Not ulting it, just damaging it. Okay, this ability is overloaded even for an ultimate, so let's take this chunk by chunk. The curse does max HP damage to scales up by 1% every 100 points of ability power Mordekaiser has. This means no matter who you're ulting, either it be an ADC or a tank, it's gonna hurt. No, unless of course you're Dr. Mundo with 3 adaptive helms. The part of his ult that's so freaking strong though is the ghost buddy he gets. In team fights, if you or your ally kill the cursed victim, congratulations, you just turn that 5v5 into a 4v6. Your ghost can't use spells, so primarily you want to be ulting this ADC since they keep their crit chance on hit effects. There's nothing more gratifying than turning that Vayne who's been murdering you all game into a ghost and wreaking havoc with her true damage. Enemy ADC useless? Doesn't matter, since Mordekaiser gains stats based on what the enemy is building. Ult to the mage, boom, bonus AP. Ult to the tank, boom, bonus HP. 13-2 Zed building 6-pack cleavers, boom, massive AD spike. Mordekaiser's ult is one of the strongest ults in the game solely based on how overloaded it is. It can bring so much to team fights that it can swing whole games into your favor. Now, last and probably least is Dragon Force. You'd think being able to enslave a damn dragon would be the coolest thing in the world, and that's partially true. Having a fire-breathing dragon to fight by your side is freaking cool. Good luck getting into fights though. Dragons, no matter what type, only have 330 movement speed, which is still faster than Mordekaiser, so it won't be getting very far and it only lasts up to a minute and 15 seconds at max rank. Furthermore, the dragon doesn't teleport with you when you back or TP. Once it spawns in the dragon pit, you're kinda stuck with it there. At most, you can head bot or mid to siege a tower, but if your enemy is smart, they're just going to wait a minute before fighting you. You're also top most of the game, so good luck using this passive in the first place. Dragon Force is the only reason Mordekaiser jungle is even conceivable, but trust me when I say, more jungle is pretty bad. Without an ally unit nearby, Mordekaiser's clear sucks rocks and he has no ganking options. You're too slow and you have no form of CC, so what are you gonna do? Walk into lane and dance? Don't get me wrong, Dragon Force is great, just don't bank your entire game plan on it. Okay, so we covered spells, but how do we use them?
Yeah, it actually would be, because, like, especially with Yasuo, if you get that rune and then, like, a zeal or something, and then we basically have, like, 70%.
I don't even know if I need to...
Don't steal this skill, I swear to God!
Okay, so, if it gets 15%...
I waited to!
So, you would have, like, 60.
Thank you.
You're just
I need the
stealing
gold.
everything. I need S rank.
Nope.
I don't think these fools realize I could probably, like... do you have your ult bio? We could bait this.
Yeah.
We could hard bait this.
Oh,
Bio pushing this guy!
thank you for the free triple kill. I was typing the meme while you were starting to fight them, so I didn't have time to react.
It's okay, I
He
just
still
died.
gets the 3 kills.
In laning phase, I start W and push as hard as I can at level 1. At level 2, I take E and keep on pushing. Mord's main strength is his wave clear, and pushing up to your enemy's tower will make it harder for them to CS. When playing this way, I make sure to ward and play it safe since pushing that hard makes me a prime gank target. Mord's early game is strong, but you can easily be bullied out of lane if you play it poorly. Don't do what I did and get yourself killed twice to overextending. Oh, hello. Ow. Mid-game you'll be a bit beefy, but don't let your massive health bar fool you. You're not a tank. In team fights, help your front line with additional damage and ult the target if you're choosing. Ulting the correct target in fights can decide a battle, so use it wisely. Rinse, rush, repeat into late game until you either destroy the enemy nexus or surrender at 20 because your teammates chose to AFK farm bot side and refused to defend the base. Felt like we kind of fell apart because no one wanted to team fight. Everyone was just like, let's run in and murder everybody, but then they realized, no, it's not a thing we can viably do. Now that we know how to play Mordekaiser, what do we build on Mordekaiser? You want HP and ability power. Technically, you can build AD since Mordekaiser has dual scalings on his Q and his E, but I found the most success with this build. Building full tank is a fun pastime of mine just to see how long it takes people to kill me, but aside from being a general pain in the neck, it's ultimately pointless. Rylai's is a nice and cheap item that solves Mordekaiser's mobility issues due to the slow you get upon casting an ability. Some people like to buy Hextech Protobelt to help mobility, but aside from the cooldown reduction, I find Rylai's to be a better first pick. Plus, it synergizes with our next item, Liandry's Torment. Liandry's makes you do 2% more magic damage each second you're in combat up to 10%. This is merely icing on the cake compared to its second passes, which burn targets for 3 seconds whenever you hit them with a spell. This damage is equal to 1% of the unit's maximum HP, which is double for units that have their movement speed impaired. Comboing this with your ult and Rylai's means you're doing 4% of your opponent's maximum HP as damage over the course of 10 seconds, plus 10% more damage after 8 seconds. This combo alone has resulted in a disgusting amount of damage to the point where in the past, a single ult to be enough to 100-0 most champions was nerfed into its less potent, but still lethal current form. After that, it's mainly up to you. Want to survive in fights longer? Build tank. Want to relive the glory days of a single ult murdering someone? Go AP and Magic Pen. You want to meme hard and feed all of China while doing it? Build this! I've never tried it before, but you can take my word for it, it's fun! As for runes, I primarily run Sorcery and Domination with Area as my keystone. Area and Scorch make my poke a bit more punishing and add some extra dots to my ult combo. Transcendence because my builds lack CDR, and Nimbuscope for chasing power after I ult. Cheap Shot for more damage to movement impaired targets, and Ultimate Hunter for lower ult CDR. However, if I'm feeling spicy, I run Domination into Sorcery with Hail of Blaze as my keystone. Hail of Blaze isn't that great, but can be fun to use given you can stick close enough to your opponent to use your Q. Same lesser runes as before, but with Ghost Power instead of Nimbus Cloak because we need wards. You can also run Cleftomancy into Resolve because memes, but that's an acquired taste. My runes are my runes and your runes are your runes. Build them however you want to fit your playstyle. In conclusion, Mordekaiser is a Gimp champion that nobody really plays because of how little sense he makes. However, being Gimp can play to his advantages because people have a hard time dealing with them due to how little he's picked. I long await the day Mordekaiser will be reworked to be an actual top laner, but with that, we'll probably lose a few things that make our clunky suit of armor so great. Until then, let's enjoy Mordekaiser in all his current glory until he joins the Hall of the Reworked alongside Poppy and Galio. Regardless of what state Mordekaiser is in, where he fits in the meta, or what role he plays, he'll always be numero uno in my heart. I'm Game Master 1000, and you just watched the Gaming Go production.